Chapter 2: Moses and the Exodus. Years passed. The descendants of Abraham had grown into a great nation. The people who had once sought refuge in Egypt to escape famine were now living there, raising their children and building new generations. But time changed everything. A new Pharaoh came to power. He knew nothing about Joseph or what he had done for Egypt. As the Israelites continued to grow in number, he became afraid. He believed that one day they might rise against him. So he enslaved them. For generations, they carried heavy stones. They built cities. They were forced to work under the burning sun. And little by little, they began to forget what freedom even felt like. But just when all hope seemed lost, a child was born who would change the course of history. His name was Moses. Pharaoh's fear only grew stronger. According to the Bible, he ordered that every newborn Hebrew boy be put to death. Moses' mother hid him for months, but when she could no longer keep him safe, she placed him in a small basket woven from reeds and set him afloat on the waters of the Nile River. Perhaps one of the most important journeys in history began with that small basket. As it drifted quietly along the Nile, Pharaoh's daughter found the baby. She adopted him as her own, and Moses was raised inside the palace of the very ruler who had enslaved his people. He grew up as a prince. He received the finest education. But he never completely forgot who he truly was. Years later, he witnessed an Egyptian official brutally beating a Hebrew slave. Unable to control his anger, he killed the man. He could no longer remain in Egypt. He fled into the wilderness. For many years, he lived as a shepherd in the land of Midian. It seemed as though his destiny would simply fade away. But one event in the desert changed everything. According to the Bible, Moses saw a bush that was on fire, yet the flames never consumed it. It is believed that God spoke to Moses from within the burning bush. He commanded him to return to Egypt and lead his people to freedom. Moses doubted himself. He feared Pharaoh. But in the end, he accepted the mission. He returned to Egypt and stood before Pharaoh. He delivered the words that would echo through history. "Let my people go." Pharaoh refused. Not once, but again and again. According to the Bible, Egypt was then struck by a series of disasters known as the 10 plagues. The Nile turned to blood. Frogs covered the land. Locusts destroyed the crops. Darkness fell over Egypt. And finally, the most devastating plague came: the death of every firstborn son. The Israelites were instructed to mark their doorposts with the blood of a sacrificed lamb. Their homes were spared from the plague. This event became the foundation of the Jewish festival of Passover, which is still observed today. At last, Pharaoh gave in. After centuries of slavery, the Israelites left Egypt. This event became known as the Exodus, the Great Departure. But their journey to freedom was far from over. Soon after, Pharaoh changed his mind. He sent his army after them. The Red Sea lay before the Israelites, and the Egyptian army was closing in behind them. Escape seemed impossible. According to the Bible, Moses raised his staff. The sea parted. The Israelites crossed on dry ground. When the Egyptian army followed, the waters returned and swept them away. Although the historical details of this event continue to be debated, the Exodus became the defining story of Jewish identity. Because it was more than an escape from slavery, it became a symbol of faith, freedom, and hope. The journey continued. The Israelites arrived at Mount Sinai. According to the Bible, it was there that Moses received the 10 Commandments from God. These commandments would shape not only Judaism, but centuries later, Christianity and Islam as well. Yet reaching the promised land would not be as easy as they had hoped. According to the Bible, the Israelites wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. The older generation passed away. A new generation grew up. And finally, they reached the borders of Canaan. The land that had been promised to Abraham centuries earlier was now within their sight. But claiming that land would bring new challenges. In the next chapter, we will explore the Israelites' settlement in Canaan, the rise of their first kings, and the story of Jerusalem's ascent. Chapter 3. The Promised Land. Coming soon. A new generation stands at the edge of destiny. Beyond these hills lies the land promised centuries before. But before peace, there will be conquest. Before a kingdom, there will be sacrifice. Chapter 3 is coming soon. Subscribe to continue the journey.